Hello, my creative friends. Jessica Sanders here of ColorMeCreativeArt.com. And I thought I would just do a sort of live talk through of painting a galaxy today and share that with you. So I hope you enjoy it. This will be a real-time painting, and I'll just be chatting as we go, explaining my thought process as I'm painting. So I have the Jane Davenport Brights palette. I have the Jane Davenport Glitzy palette, and I have my Starry Colors, which are metallics. And I just wanted to see, I'm just going to go with the flow today and just see how it all comes together. I'm really loving this combination of this blue. Let me see, this is the darker one. It's the one I actually meant to grab, and I'm putting it in a puddle of red that's already there, so I apologize. Can't really see that color. Let me see if I can get a scrap piece of paper just so you can see. I'll just bring in my little mini journal here to do the color swatches, because why not? That's what it's for. There we go. Okay, so I will clean my brush just so you can see what this blue looks like on its own. It is just a really clear, neutral blue. I feel like it's very neutral. Feel free to disagree with me. And then this red. You've seen me paint with these before already, but I just want to show you the colors here. And I'm just going to create some swatchy stuff here. And then when you mix them, right, you get this fabulous purple. I mean, look at that. And if you have more blue, of course, it's more bluish purple. More like the Pantone color of the year, I guess. Add some more red in here. And they don't, let me just going to keep on sort of dragging out the color here just so you can see. And I don't want this page to be just a big blobby mess, so I want it to be a background in the end. I'm going to do that. So you can get a nice, rich color here. Look at that. More blue, you sort of get that ultraviolet Pantone color. More red, it's just more of a deep purple. So those are these two colors for the Jane Davenport Glitzy palette. Nereid and Ariel. So they really nice color together, and this is not the first galaxy I've used them in, but I am loving the combination. This is just so you could see the colors. This is not the actual galaxy. Okay. All right, so let's get started with our galaxy. What I'm going to do is sort of create a multi-toned, multicolored wash here. And I've got a few other little colors. There's some yellow there, some green. I don't mind because I like variety and I like to mix things up. So there's some blue there, some Nereid, and here's some Ariel. I'm just going to put a puddle over here. I'm going to be using both of those, plus some other colors, but I'm just going to start here. So I've got some nice thick puddles of paint in my palette, and I'm going to go back to this blue without losing the red and get started. Oh, I love this color, guys. Love it. Oh my gosh. It is so fantastic. Oh my gosh. I always tend to start in the corner just because that seems to work best for me when I'm painting a galaxy. And then I kind of work from there. So I'm pulling the color out using the water. And this is probably going to take more than one layer because I like to darken and deepen some of the colors, and so that's why it usually takes me more than one layer. I kind of want to add more cloudy effects and shapes. So I'm just pulling out that color. Look, I have a hair from my brush. Sorry about that. And keeping a wet edge. Keeping that wet edges keeps you from having a hard edge. So I'm using more and more water to pull that out because I'm about to move across to another area. Actually, I think I'll drop more paint in this wet area before I do that. So I picked up that lot of paint for my palette. This is drying quite quickly. Just add more water. sort of kind of create some flowy areas that, but in little, if you notice, I'm just like tapping my brush around a lot, because for me, I feel like that gives me like nice cloud shapes and gives you that sort of fluffiness. Fluffy. Okay, add in more pigment here. Sort of had a back run where the water pushed into the drier area. There we go. Now I don't want to just stick with these two colors today. I'm going to go to my bright palette and I'm going to pick up, as you can see, I use this pink a lot. It's my favorite. Oh, I don't know. I think maybe they're all my favorite. I'm going to pick up some of this pink. It does have a mixture of the other color because I'm using dirty water. I'm okay with that. I'm going to just pull that in here in this wet area. Again, just tapping my brush around a lot. And sometimes I do like a little circular motion. I'm going to tap in a little bit of that over here just to pull the colors together. And again, don't want to lose that wet edge. Take that all the way to the top. I sort of like, these are sort of like abstract paintings, so they're not abstract paintings, but they're like them. And so I want to create sort of connections across the painting and have everything be pulled together. I'm going to drop in more. And again, I'm painting very intuitively, so I'm making decisions as I go. I don't have a pre-planned idea. I just sat down here with color and went, okay, what am I going to do? Now I've got some purple from the other palette. I want to pull that in from the Brights palette. It's an alizarin crimson, I guess. Has a little bit of that blue sprinkled in. And this is wet and wet right now. My paper is wet. So this is creating this sort of flowing effect. I'm going back to this pink. So I'm just trying to share with you, I guess, my thought process as I'm adding colors. And I'm darkening the colors when I add in the color. It creates that richer, deeper color. And also I'm adding it on both sides to sort of tie it together. I've got some of that purple. This is all still very wet. There we go. Now I'm going to go back to my original mix of the Nereid and Ariel of the violets and the red and the blue. And I just sort of I like this, putting it in the corners, so you will see me doing that a lot. I'm a creature of habit sometimes. And I also feel like it just pulls everything together. Kind of liking how this is looking. Maybe a little bit of this purple in here, this wet area. I have a big pool of paint, so there is a danger, even in Galaxy, of sort of overworking your paint. And it's sort of bowing in the middle because I just have it taped to wax paper, so it's still going to curl a little bit. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to just tilt that a little. I'll let that paint run back that way into the painting itself. And don't forget, you can tip and turn your paper. I mean, why not? You are the boss of your art, as I believe Dina Wakley says. You're the boss of your art. So kind of have a hard line here. I think I want to soften that. So I'm just going to, with a very lightly damp brush, mostly dry, just soften that edges. Move that around just a little. See, another hard edge here. I have too much water on my brush there. It was just going crazy. Don't want that. Normally I like to let my paintings just dry naturally, but for the sake of this video, I'm going to dry it and I'll be back. Okay, so now this is dry. I did use the heat tool If you notice, it's mostly return to flat. This is actually Kilimanjaro professional watercolor paper. It's made by Cheap Joe's. If you're on YouTube, you have seen Cheap Joe's Art Supplies. He's fantastic and his supplies are great. So I've gotten this Kilimanjaro. It's 100% cotton paper and it is fantastic. Oh, I love it. This is the 140 pounds, so it does, if it's absorbing unevenly, just like any 140-pound watercolor paper, it is going to, get a little wavy, but you see it dries really flat. It's drying really flat. Okay, so let's continue. You notice everything is lighter. That's normal with watercolors. That's not something that's particular to Jane Davenport or anything like that. It's normal watercolor property. So I'm just going to go back with that sort of burgundy that I created with that red and blue. Adding in some more blues in some places because I want it to be more purple. I'm going to darken this corner here. It's still not as dark as the other areas, but it's just darker. And I'm sort of mixing these colors together because I want there to be that just a blending and mixing of color. I don't want it to be like one solid color. Now I have, look, this really hard line. I'm going to fix that right now with a little, with a very wet, no, with a damp brush. Pulling that out and touching the edge. Just a little. I want to keep the edge, but I don't want it to be such a hard edge. I'm going to go back to my beautiful bright pink and add that in as well. And just using the same process. So the cool thing about galaxies and painting galaxies, I think, is that not only are they just sort of ethereal and cloudy, but you can use any colors you want. If you look at Hubble images, I mean, it's just anything and everything, every color imaginable, and then some that you can use to paint nebulas and galaxy style paintings, which I think is a big attraction, at least it is for me, for painting these kinds of paintings. Picking that up, I'm swirling it on my palette so I make sure it doesn't have that grainy look. I'm kind of liking some of this shape here. Kind of want to keep that idea. I'm kind of liking that this one corner is bright and light. Again, adding more color. The question is then, do I want this to be so light that it's just the focal point, which I don't. So I need the focal point to be somewhere else. Not really in the corner. So I'll just make that a little tiny bit darker, but not much. Pull a little bit of that pigment there into it. Really nice. Getting a very cloudy effect. You can see I had more water in some places than others, and it's drying darker and a little unevenly. And I'm kind of choosing like this area to be the focal point, I guess, as I go. I don't know. I'm trying not to overthink it, really. I don't want to overthink it. Oh, I know what I need. Oh, what I want. I want to put some drops. Now some of those will be more solid than others. And they're color drops. So guess what? All stars are not white. You knew that already. Okay, I'm again to a place where I need to let it dry. So now this painting is dry. And I'm just looking at it and I'm really loving some of the shapes here. So where I did the dropping in where it was wet, see these nice bloom shapes from the water pushing the pigment out, which I think is great for a galaxy painting because of the stars, right? There's light emanating from them. So this is sort of the idea that there's, light pushing out there a little bit. And it's not like super bright or going to draw your eye too much here to this corner. So that's nice. It's really deep and dark here and a little lighter here. And I'm sort of debating, do I want this corner darker or do I want to just keep it? Kind of enjoying this sort of just the lines that were created by the blooms. That's something that I think is so fun about watercolor. So watercolor is considered unpredictable, and it is, but if you know what those unpredictabilities are, you can embrace them and enjoy them. So I think that is fantastic. I'm just deciding. I'm looking at it and thinking, do I really want to add more to this? I mean, I could actually add like the idea of a planet or a moon in here somewhere. I'm kind of leaning toward that. I think I will right in here. I'm going to add sort of the idea of a planet, which a planet is a sphere, right? Not a difficult shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up this same pink color. And I'm not going to paint an entire circle. I'm just going to paint an arc. So I see a shape here. And I think that's the part I want to just make sort of a bigger planet. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip a space and create this sort of arc that follows along. See, I'm practicing my stroke and practicing how it will go. And then I'll put the very tip down lightly after skipping a space because I just want the idea, and then I'm just going to start darkening that in a little bit. Maybe need a little bit of a line there, and I'm going to add in more here, and I kind of want it to disappear there, so I'm going to kind of see it. This is sort of like painting a bubble. A planet in space is sort of like painting a bubble. Because why? It's the same shape. Same shape. Kind of want to add a little bit more dark color there. So I'm going to get my alizarin crimson kind of color here. I'm going to go sort of near this edge, but not all the way to it. And drop in a little bit of pigment here and there. I'm rounding that out a little bit more. And I'm just going to drop in some places some little sort of planetary kind of marks, as if there's something on this planet. Want a few hard lines, a few soft lines, and some shapes. And this is the light is really hitting it here, so to lift that paint just a little with a dry brush and sort of have lost and found edges there. Look, we have a planet. Yay! Or a moon. I mean, it's pink. That's the beauty of doing these galaxy paintings. They can be anything you want. I'm going to take our deep dark purple that we created with the Glitzy and drop in a little bit because I want this to all pull together. I want to all pull together there. That's kind of a lot, so again, I'm going to just lift that and then drop. Let it go around a little. There we go. Lifting again. What do you think? Is that a nice planet or what? It was so easy, right? You can do this. You really can. Okay, I think that I'm just deciding. I'm kind of want this to be more color here. It's looking a little washed out, so I'm going to add in more of the blue mixed with the Nereid mixed with Ariel. Ariel and Nereid are getting along today, but not too much, and I'm going to sort of pull it this way a little, but not too much again. I say that a lot, I guess. And I don't want them to really push this pigment back, so I kind of, again, with the softening and rough edges and some cloudy shapes here. I think I actually will go back with this. And I'm using a thick mixture of paint, so I've got not a ton of water. Of course it moves, but it's not a ton of water. I'm not going to go all the way out here because I want that gradual, it gets darker, darker, darker as it goes away. So I'm going to, with a damp brush again, pull this out a little. Make sure everything's nice, and I don't want that to be like a V shape there, so I'm going to pull this in here too. Make a few little purpley clouds. Let that blend out together. Again, I'm not covering the whole area. Don't want it to be all dark there. But I did want it to be darker. Alrighty, let's see. A little bit more of that here in this area. Just dropping in more color into this wet area. I need to not move it as much. I need to just drop it more and move it less. That way I'm not disturbing the color that's underneath it as much. And again, I'm dotting it in, so it's kind of the idea that there are clouds there. Which is kind of cool. Kind of cool. I mean, it's a galaxy, right? Galaxy style. So do you like to look at astronomy pictures, or do you just like to paint galaxies? I'm curious because I love astronomy. I know I say that, but I'm a very casual fan, right? I don't like spend hours and hours, but I just love seeing the images, like the Hubble images and stuff like that. So much fun and fantastic. And always when I was a little girl or teenager, even when I was a teenager, I was really fascinated with astronomy and the stars and everything. And I spent a lot of time looking at the stars and learning constellations and things like that. So for me, galaxy painting is like a little bit nostalgic and a little bit like brings back a little bit of childhood memories and that sort of thing. Just decided to add a little bit more dark here, but not dark, dark, just the pink. There's some clouds there. So that's, I guess, one reason why, because I do love it. I have a huge Pinterest board full of Hubble and universe images and that sort of thing. So what about you? I'm curious if you just like to do the painting or if you like to look at pictures and things too. So share that with me in the comments below. That would be a fantastic way to talk. Also, let me know what you think of these paintings and chatting like this. I know sometimes I get quiet when I'm painting. I'm thinking about what I'm doing. And so anyway, I would just love to hear, some of your thoughts. And let me know how your galaxy painting is going. I'm not quite finished. I'm going to dry this once again, and then I'm going to add stars. I believe I'm going to be finished. Let's try it. I just realized that I got my metallics out because I was like, I really want to use metallics, and I never use them. So let's add a little bit of metallic. I'm going to just use this white gold, and I'm just going to put a little bit here. This is going to be sort of shiny. Maybe I'll do a few little drops, sort of like stars here and there. And like silvery kind of cloud. So you may notice how deep and dark this is. It's very opaque. That's because of my mixture, and also because these paints, these Jane Davenport paints, at least these colors, have a little bit of opacity to them. Not a lot, but if you mix them really thickly, they are going to be sort of opaque. I'm going to just, again, smooth that out. That's going to be shiny, so it's going to be reflective in certain areas, but that's kind of what I'm going for, right? And then I wanted to add a little bit to the edge of this planet, very lightly. I'm adding a few spots here and there where I want them. Okay, again, I'm going to dry it because I still haven't added my stars, right? And I kind of want to pick that up a little. I don't want that to be there. Okay, so let me dry it, and I will, this time really will add stars. Okay, fantastic. So for my stars, I'm going to use Hydrus ink. This is the Dr. P.H. Martin's Hydrus, and this is titanium white, so it is somewhat opaque, but if you get too much water in it, it won't be opaque anymore. And I tend to shake it up because sometimes the pigment settles to the bottom, but it is a liquid watercolor. So, and the way I usually do that is I have this little bowl, and it has some in it already, but I'll just drop a dropper or two. And I have decided that my fan brush really is my favorite way, although sometimes I will use the toothbrush, but it's a dry. So what I do is I wet my brush, and then I dry it really good because I don't want to add water to my liquid watercolor. And I'm just going to pick it up with a few bristles, not too much, just a little, see, just a little. And I will use the handle of my other brush to tap it. First, I'm going to tap it there. And you know what else? I sort of need to cover up my planet a little. I don't want my planet to get stars on top of it, between me and it. I guess really is what it would be. All right, now I'm tapping. Oh, look, I got really picks because I didn't wipe off my brush. That's okay. I'm going back. Now I'm getting the small ones I was looking for. And look how nicely they show up on that really deep dark background. They're not going to show up as much on the lighter background because there's not as much contrast. But so the less paint that's on my brush, the smaller the stars are going to be. So I'm getting really tiny stars there, which just means they're very far away, right? I'm going to pick up a little more, turn this a little so I can get that corner. Get around that edge. I don't mind if there's a little bit of stars on there, but I just don't want a lot covering up my planet. So that's why I'm doing it that way. Or my moon. I'm not sure if it's a moon or planet. Does it matter? Does it matter to you? Do you like moons or planets better? I am sometimes discovering that I get a little carried away on the stars. So I should maybe do a little bit less. Stop earlier than I think I need to. Okay. So what do you think? Oh, that's so much fun. It's so much fun. So I hope you're enjoying seeing these galaxy paintings. I know I'm enjoying painting them. They're just imaginary in most cases. Sometimes they're inspired by actual images, but even then, it's just an inspiration for color and maybe composition. But this one's just completely imaginary, and I played with two of Jane's watercolor palettes and a little bit of my starry colors, although I feel bad because I accidentally sort of left them out a little bit. I didn't mean to. But anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this painting, and I will see you soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And let me know in the comments below, what do you think about galaxies? Do you enjoy the actual galaxies, or do you just enjoy painting? Let's talk about it. That would be fantastic conversation. Okay, thanks. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.